The tit, the most unassuming of bird species. The tit is from a large family of small passerine birds which mainly occur in the northern hemisphere. Members of this family are commonly referred to as tits throughout much of the English-speaking world. These birds are mainly small, stocky, woodland species. Some have crests or beards. Just like another animal, the Alba commune pine, they range from 4 to 8 inches. Many species live around human habitation and come readily for nuts or seed, and learn to take other foods. This message was presented by the DeWeather Institute for Climate Knowledge. The DeWeather Cares Knights Tits Kickball Tournament is coming this October and benefits 4 cancer-related charities. See DeWeather Center on Facebook for more information.
Have you joined the fastest growing fantasy motorsports app yet? On Grid Rival, you can join leagues with your friends and manage your own fantasy team on what race fans are calling, hands down, the best fantasy motorsport app out there. F1 and MotoGP leagues are now live for the 2021 season. Joining a league on Grid Rival will make every race more exciting, more engaging, and of course, more competitive. Download Grid Rival now on your iPhone or Android smartphone. Grid Rival is an unofficial application and not associated with Formula One, MotoGP or any of their athletes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Japan, Twin Ring Motegi, where tonight the stars and cars of the Grid Rival ESRA INDYCAR series will take on this 1.5-mile egg-shaped oval for a 150-lap feature event. Qualifications just getting underway. Looking forward to a fantastic night of racing. Nick DeGroot, motorsport.com, on the side of the number 19, was your quick timer as he makes his way down the back straightaway. Connor Baldwin going to be your quick timer now. Show you his qualifications are getting underway here. Connor Baldwin still your quick timer. Pick him up here as he works his way down the back straightaway. Just finishing up his qualification run. In the number 19, Baldwin Agriland, Fly Arrow Info. Entry, Charles Teed, Alec Coates, and Dylan Thomas making up your top 5. Let's pick up James Watson here as he makes his way down into turn number 1. Checking the comments here on Twitch. 90210 owned, basically Darlington in Japan. Sort of. A lot less banking here, but a very similar layout. This is a fixed setup league. James Watson moving to 4th on the speed charts. We have not seen speed like that out of that car, quite frankly, the entire night in practice. So good lap there for James Watson to put himself up to position at number 4. But here's the guy with some of the best numbers in the history of the Grid Rival ESRA INDYCAR series. Matt Wagner with 17 starts as Alexander Ball moves up to 5th quick on the speed charts. Matt Wagner, 17 starts, 6 poles. 35% of the time he's starting these races from up front. 4 wins for a 23% win percentage. 64% of the time he's in the top 5. 88% top 10 finish. Just absolutely dominant here. Julian Altina, actually a little bit ahead of Matt in some of those categories, including win percentage. 3 wins in 11 starts for a 27% winning percentage. Alexander Ball has finished his qualification run. Here is that aforementioned Matt Wagner. See what he's going to be able to do. Connor Baldwin up by half a tenth at the front of the field. Let's bring him up into the booth here. Connor, you've got the hot lap so far. We'll see what Matt Wagner's going to be able to say about that. But congratulations. The car looked pretty good out there in qualifying. You looked very stout in practice as well.
Thank you. I absolutely sent it on that first lap just because through practicing the qualifying setup, I knew that first lap was really going to make or break the qualifying time. And I absolutely sent it into 3 and 4. And when I got on the gas, I thought I was going to go head first into the wall, but luckily I had enough weight jacker in the car and it really rotated the rear to where I was able to get that fast time. And that's back-to-back poles. Let's go.
I was going to say, coming off a little bit of a bummer last week as qualifications have wrapped up here, looking for a little bit different show here this time, but Motegi is really a place that sort of can drive like a road course in some respects.
Yeah, that breaking into 3 and 4 is going to really, I think, mess up a lot of the field and really expand the distances between everybody just because of the amount of dirty air, especially on these first couple of laps. And hopefully people have been practicing to where we don't have a caution fest of people spearing into that outside wall coming out of turn 4.
All right, bud. Hey, good luck here. Congratulations on your second consecutive Grid Rival Pole Award, and hopefully we're talking to you again a little bit later on.
Thank you, thank you.
There you go, Connor Baldwin, and a fantastic job, as always, on the cameras. We don't say that when he's on the air with us, though. We don't want him to get too big of a head. Let's get you the starting lineup here as we're waiting on the last couple of cars to get on to the starting grid here. Give you the overhead look from the NRN drone. Connor Baldwin and Matt Wagner will occupy row number 1 for tonight's 150-lap Grid Rival ESRA Indy Japan. Nick DeGroot, Charles Teed on the second row. James Watson and Alexander Ball on row number 3. Alec Coates, Dylan Thomas from Misfit Sim Racing on row number 4. Gary Godso and Alex Ress on row number 5. Zach Evans, Victor Aldrich on row 6. Gary Corley, TJ McMurray on row number 7. Lee Huber, Cullen Johnston on row 8. Row 9 will see J.W. Miller and Jason Hand. All alone, row number 10 will be the number 42 of Jeff Destino. 19 cars for 150 laps. This has the potential to be a long one. Where it's going to be very interesting to watch as this race develops is when the first caution flag may fly. Because if the first caution flag comes at about lap 20, it then becomes theoretically possible to make it on 2 additional stops. If you run the full stint length, you're looking at right anywhere 35 to maybe 40 laps. That puts you squarely in the window of a 4-stint, 3 full stop race. With 5 sets of tires in the pits, pit strategy for the tires may not come into play, but we'll see if anybody elects to try to save a set of tires here for late in this one. As always, race fans, the pace car is going to make the hard left-hand turn, and the start of the Grid Rival ESRA IndyCar Series at Motegi is going to be all yours. One lap very quickly in the books. Connor Baldwin will be your race leader. Over Nick DeGroot, Charles Teed, Matt Wagner falling back 2 spots to run in the 4th position. Tight battle here at the front of the field. Everybody getting single filed out right now. Baldwin down to the inside to block off the run into turn number 3. DeGroot runs just a little bit high, takes some of the air off of Charles Teed's car mid-corner. This is where we're going to see the issues, is coming off of the corners. That could be the big-time trouble spot we're hearing, especially off of turn number 4. Slide a little bit further back in the field here. Gary Godso and Zach Evans battling. Love the camera shake from that camera up on the fence. Thank you very much for the congratulations there, 902-1 owned. Rockabilly Outlaw checking in on YouTube saying, let's get it done, TWR. This is one of the better battles on the racetrack right now. Also, just a little bit behind this one, Dylan Thomas, J.W. Miller, Gary Corley also battling for position. They've also got Alexander Ball just there ahead of them as well. This is a fixed setup league, so some of these drivers are not going to be wholly comfortable with how these cars are driving early on in the stint, especially later in the stint. We've heard some very, quite frankly, wild numbers that the drivers are running in terms of weight jacker and some of the other in-cockpit adjustments that are available to them. Zach Evans having a peek inside of Gary Godso. Not quite close enough to make that passing attempt work. Take a look at the head of the field is Nick DeGroot back inside of a couple of tenths of Connor Baldwin. DeGroot set the fastest lap of the race last time by at a 27.60. Kind of as expected a little bit here. Let these cars settle in, get everybody in line, try to avoid the early cautions. Sliding a little bit further back here, Alex Ress has a big chain of cars right behind him. Alexander Ball, Lee Hubert, J.W. Miller, Gary Corley, all staying right about a quarter of a second apart from each other. It's interesting to see the different lines that these cars are running, though. New colors tonight for J.W. Miller. Get you the close-up on that one. Team Watson Racing colors on the side of that one. Oh, man, big move inside of the Alpha Tauri of Huber. I'll let the fans jinx this one. This feels cleaner than most actual IndyCar races, as we've got one car up into the wall, and I believe it's Alex Ress. He did make very heavy contact with the outside retaining wall in turn number 3. Oh, you can see the right front of that car absolutely towed out. We're going to stay under the green, however. Come back towards the front of the field. Let's give you a very quick rundown here as we work lap number 11. Connor Baldwin is your race leader. Alex Ress makes it back to pit lane. Nick DeGroot runs in the second position in the motorsport.com, number 89. The Menards colors on the side of Charles Teed's number 50. Teed, one of the very, very stout drivers on the ovals, currently running in the third position. Defending series champion Matt Wagner running in fourth. Qualified second, lost a couple of spots right at the start of the race. And here is James Watson running in the fifth position. Let's get you a replay of the start here. Looked like they came down very, very slowly. It was a great start for Connor Baldwin and Nick DeGroot. Almost 3 wide into turn number 1. Things definitely a little bit wild here towards the mid-pack, but a clean and green start to this race so far here as we get you back to the live look. Slide back, we'll pick up Alexander Ball. About a 1/10.5 off of J.W. Miller's rear wing. Starting to get towards that window where the pit windows could theoretically open up here a little bit. If the drivers are able to make 40 laps, especially if they can make it 42 laps or so, definitely puts them in a position where a caution anywhere between now and lap, 25 or so will definitely bring some of the strategy calls into play. Matt Wagner running way up against the outside safer barrier in 1 and 2. Trying to get caught up on Charles Teed. We've heard the aero push was going to be really, really bad in these cars around this racetrack. Slide back here, side-by-side batter, Victor Aldrich and Dylan Thomas. Aldrich down to the inside in the 98. Thomas on the outside in the 22. Just ahead of them. Good battle there as well. I believe that was Alex Ress. It is. Alex Ress coming around the outside. He made his first pit stop at lap 10. He is being scored 3 laps down to the race leaders, so he will need some caution help to get back up onto the lead lap. J.W. Miller, Zach Evans battling a couple of the Team Watson racing cars, but different Team Watson racing entries. Give you a review of the point standings entering tonight's race. Dark Horse Indy is your overall team points leader, 54 total points. 53.2 for Team Watson Racing in second. Dark Horse Racing is third. Mediocre Motorsports fourth, followed by Team Watson San Jose, Team Watson Grape, and Team Ball Racing. Have a tie for the points lead. Charles Teed and Matt Wagner both sitting on 71 points. Teed ahead based on the fact that he has 4 bonus points to Wagner's 3. Also a tie for third between Alec Coates and J.W. Miller. Both of those cars sitting on 59 points. Connor Baldwin and Eric Schaus tied for 5th at 52 markers. Baldwin, the biggest mover of the week, up 12 points. Now obviously only a couple of races into this season. Oh man, that looked ugly there towards the back of this group here. Gary Corley down to the inside of Zach Evans. Seeing trouble on the racetrack. We'll see if that will bring out a caution flag or not. Looks like we will stay green. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. Trouble for Dylan Thomas. Oh, just lost it down the front straightaway. Heavy front end damage to the number 22. He is able to get cleared off the racetrack. We stay green. Also, more trouble on the racetrack, this time for Zach Evans. Get you the replay here. See what happened to Zach. He was right in the middle of that pack of race cars. Oh, man, kind of the same thing. Significantly less contact. Took off the left front wing plate for Zach. As we go back to the live look here, lap number 24 of 150. Dylan Thomas on pit road. Zach Evans currently in the pit area as well. Thomas down and away and back out onto the racetrack. 1 minute, 0.32 seconds for the pit stop time. Get a peek back towards the front of the field. There is race leader Connor Baldwin. In control of things here by a half second over Nick DeGroot. 1 1/4 seconds back is Charles Teed behind DeGroot. Make it 1 3/4 seconds to the race leader. Zach Evans down and away off of pit lane. 9 second stop for Zach. So looking like we should see about a 42-second or so pit lane delta. Peeking at the timing and scoring numbers. Best lap of the race belongs to Nick DeGroot at a 27.604. Connor Baldwin's best lap at 27.654. Both of those cars running high 27.8s to low 27.9s for lap times. So they've slowed down about 0.3 of a second, but it's really not all that much early in this race here. Show you our weather conditions today presented by our friends at the Weather Center. Offensively accurate weather for eastern Pennsylvania. 73-degree track temperature, 34% humidity, winds out of the north at 2 miles per hour under overcast skies. 83-degree track temperature, so shouldn't have any issues with this thing getting super slick or out of control here. Probably something that these drivers are thankful to be hearing on that one. So everybody who's watching here on Twitch or on YouTube, let us know where you're watching from. Thank you very much for checking in, everybody. We appreciate you hanging out with us here. Slide back in the pack here. Pick up Gary Godso and Alexander Ball battling for the 8th position. These two cars within about a 1/4 of a second of each other. Ball is making up the ground. We'll see if he's going to make the dive into 3. Shows his nose to the inside. That has been such a tricky spot to get off the corner. We've already seen a couple of cars having, well, not small self-spin issues, but self-spins. Seeing our buddy Mario Miranda checking in on YouTube. Mario is back, looking good out there. Trouble on the racetrack for Gary Corley. Once again, we're going to stay under green flag conditions here. See what happened to Corley. Yeah, same kind of deal. Little soft. The car just gets a little bit loose. Barely makes contact with the inside retaining wall down the front straightaway. Corley is able to continue. With the exception of, I believe, Alex Ress, I don't think we've seen a car make very, very heavy contact. Couple of spins out of turn number 4. Pit stops getting underway here. Let's show this to you. Charles Teed and Matt Wagner making their way down the pit lane here at lap number 37. That is going to open up the windows for sure. See if these cars are going to be able to hit their marks cleanly, get out of the box cleanly. That is always a challenge at Motegi. Having to run that turn 1 and 2 basically flat on the inside of the racetrack. Teed and Wagner both down and away cleanly. They will re-enter the racetrack. Same pattern that they left it in. But they will be in the 14th and 15th positions. About a lap and a half behind your race leaders. Coming up into a pack of traffic. Oh, trouble for Connor Baldwin. He smacks the inside retaining wall trying to get the car slowed down. Heavy left front damage. He does have a quick repair available if he can get the car to the box without any issues. Nick DeGroot also in the pit lane here at lap number 38. Baldwin hits his marks. He does take the backup car out, so shouldn't be much of an issue there. Almost stalled it. Looks like Nick DeGroot may be able to get around Baldwin at the exit of pit lane, and he does. Put Nick DeGroot into the race lead. That little tiny bobble by Connor Baldwin exiting his pit box. Gary Godso and Victor Aldrich making their way down the pit lane now. They are currently first and second as we cycle through the pit stops. Jeff Destino, TJ McMurray, the only two cars left that have not come in. Jeff Destino will assume the race lead. Nick DeGroot and Connor Baldwin will resume their positions at the head of the field once these cars are able to complete their service. Big differences in lap times here, though. Seeing trouble on the racetrack for Alexander Ball. He is able to clear himself quickly. We once again stay under green. See what happened to Ball. Oh, just clipped the white line and a huge impact to the inside retaining wall. So here is the effective battle for the race lead. It'll be Nick DeGroot and Connor Baldwin. Matt Wagner and Charles Teed have also swapped positions. So we'll hold on to the view here of race leader Nick DeGroot. Connor Baldwin, Matt Wagner, Charles Teed, and Alec Coates, your top 5. 6 through 10, James Watson, J.W. Miller, Lee Huber, Gary Godso, and Victor Aldrich. Everybody else on the racetrack is either one lap down or big time in danger of going a lap down. Based on the numbers we saw for this sequence of pit stops, we're looking at stop number 2 coming anywhere from lap 74 to lap number 82. Just before the cycle of pit stops, our buddy Forrest Baldwin checking in. Connor Baldwin leading and powered by delicious Texas beef. Yes, sir. I had a whole pile of Texas beef tonight. Fantastic little Mexican place near our house. Tightest battle on the racetrack right now going to be Jeff Destino and Zach Evans. Evans in the San Jose green, I believe that is, of Team Watson Racing. Destino about a third of a second ahead here. Car behind is not for position. And at this point, sort of feels like everything has settled in here just a little bit. Kind of going to plan for most of these drivers with the exception of Connor Baldwin. He was leading the race. See if we can show you what happened here when Connor Baldwin came down pit road. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here. You see him get big time loose, trying to get it into the pits. It was actually a nice job not to do more damage to that race car or spin up in front of the field. Take a look at this one from Nick DeGroot's perspective. And that's about all it took to get Nick DeGroot in the motorsport.com, number 89, out to the head of the field here as we work lap number 51. 1/3 of this race has gone by the wayside. James Watson, J.W. Miller, a couple of teammates battling for the 6th position. And, well, this is one of the closest battles. Actually, it is basically the closest battle on the racetrack right now. We say that, and things start getting a little spicy here for 2nd. Matt Wagner rapidly catching in on Connor Baldwin. He's got the tow at this point. Almost like these two are going to have to work together if they want to get caught up to Nick DeGroot. The gap, 1.5 seconds between DeGroot and Baldwin. Show you the gaps here to the race leader. Wagner also a couple of laps lighter on fuel. It's not going to make a huge difference yet in the run, but definitely something to keep an eye on as you get a little bit later in the stint. Matt Wagner now owns the fastest lap of the race at a 27.588 second lap and taking advantage of the big tow from Connor Baldwin's number 19. J.W. Miller, James Watson getting very tight up on each other now. Miller only about a car length and a half off the rear wing of the 39. I believe that was Gary Corley getting up into the outside wall. Corley running in the 14th position. Here's Matt Wagner having a big look on Connor Baldwin down towards turn number 1. Baldwin going to fight back tough on the outside of the racetrack. Oh, they made contact! Baldwin hard into the inside retaining wall. Big hit for Connor Baldwin. Even if he can drive that car back to the pits, it is going to be a lengthy repair stop for Connor Baldwin. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here. There you see the contact off the corner. Show it to you one more time here. Baldwin with a big hit into the inside. Absolutely junked the left front corner of that machine. Probably a little bit ambitious. Now Baldwin trying to get the car into the pit stall. He is in a world of hurt trying to get that car settled here. James Watson almost looked a little bit slow down there to the inside of the racetrack. Guess the car is at full speed. You have to wonder now, does Matt Wagner have any damage from that contact? Take a look. Right front of that car looks okay. That may have actually been a bit of net code. They got the two of those cars. That will promote Charles Teed up to the third and final podium position. Taking a look at race leader Nick DeGroot. One of the interesting things we're seeing starting to develop strategy-wise here, DeGroot could come to pit road for his second stop, and he would not come out behind Cullen Johnston, who was the first car one lap down. He would re-enter the racetrack just ahead of Cullen Johnston. Second place, Matt Wagner, would lose that spot. So when you're starting to think about how strategies are going to play out here, Matt Wagner going to have to get the gap built up a little bit here to not come out really, really deep in lap traffic. No longer seeing Connor Baldwin in his pit stall, so looks like that may be the end of the night for Connor Baldwin. Working lap number 66 here at Twin Ring Motegi. Nick DeGroot, your leader by 4 seconds over Matt Wagner. Charles Teed, 5.3 seconds back of your race leader. Down to 9 cars remaining on the lead lap. This would be an absolutely massive points haul for Nick DeGroot. Currently 17th in the standings. Did not run week number 1. Slide back in the pack here. Pick up James Watson and Lee Huber. Watson running in the 6th position. Huber not gaining a ton of ground on Watson. Made up a little bit there. Down the front straightaway. Still about a car length and a half back. Watson expected to pit 1 lap sooner than Huber is. And we are right about getting into the window for our 2nd round of green flag pit stops. Anticipate seeing the cars that stopped at lap number 36 in right about lap 73 or 74. That would be Matt Wagner and Charles Teed. Nick DeGroot looks like he should be able to go a couple of laps longer. Huber making the look down the inside of Watson towards turn number 1. Put that AlphaTauri up to position number 6. Watson running a very consistent and, well, quite frankly, conservative race here. Fighting back to the outside of Huber. They'll continue this fight side by side. Huber holds on to the position down the front straightaway. Matt Wagner in down pit lane this time by. Now Charles Teed going to make his way down into the pit area. Wagner, 8.5 seconds for 4 Firestone Firehawks and a full tank of Speedway fuel. Going to be the same 8.5 for Charles Teed. Not much of a gain, 0.03 of a second. And Teed significantly slower on pit road. J.W. Miller and James Watson. Oh, trouble for Alec Coates. He's got the left-hand side of that car all junked up as well. Race leader Nick DeGroot making his way down pit lane. Nice article on motorsport.com, by the way, penned by Nick DeGroot, taking a look at the changes for the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series schedules for 2022. Make sure you check that one out. Gary Godso currently going to be your race leader over Victor Aldrich. However, at this point, we're just waiting for them to make their stops. Connor Baldwin back out on the racetrack. 73 laps completed for Baldwin as race leader Godso going to come down pit road. That'll promote Victor Aldrich to the head of the field. Once Aldrich comes in, it'll once again be Nick DeGroot, but the gap is only about 3.5 seconds from DeGroot to Wagner. Pit lane time for Nick DeGroot, 41.3 seconds, 40.78 for Matt Wagner. So we are seeing some trouble on the racetrack for Alexander Ball. Man, same kind of deal. Off at turn number 4. Takes the front end of that car off. Gets it stopped and takes the tow back into the pit area. Aldrich going to come down pit road this time. That will put Nick DeGroot back into the lead of the race. We'll see him come by right here. And there is your race leader once again, Nick DeGroot. Matt Wagner up into the second position, 3.7 seconds in arrears of DeGroot. There is the number 1 just making his way off at turn number 2. Charles Teed runs in the third position. Jeff Destino in the number 42 runs 4th. How about a plus 15 for Destino right now, but he has not yet made his second pit stop. In sequence, 4th will belong to Lee Walter Huber. Huber's up 10 from where he started this race. Good run there for the number 13. And 5th in the serial will be J.W. Miller. This is the tightest battle on the racetrack as well. It'll be the fight for the 4th position. However, Destino is going to have to make the pit stop here pretty shortly, so that will make this the fight for 4th once Destino hits pit lane. Connor Baldwin being scored 3 laps down in the 15th position. He is the big drop in positions right now, down 14 from the start of this race. Here's Destino making his way back out onto the racetrack. We'll see where he joins in. Looks like it's going to be just ahead of Zach Evans. They'll have James Watson in between those two cars. In a battle for position, Watson is a lap ahead of Destino. Down to 6 cars remaining on the lead lap as we work lap number 87. A little bit past the halfway point here at Twin Ring Motegi. 41 minutes, 28 seconds has elapsed to this point in the race. Time limit of 1 hour and 45 minutes. If we stay green, I don't think the time limit is going to become an issue. A couple of caution flags, and it is a very real possibility. Only 3 cars out of the race at this point. Alexander Ball will finish in the 17th position. Dylan Thomas, 18th. And Alex Ress will come home tonight in the 19th position. Closest fights on the racetrack right now going to be Zach Evans and Colin Johnston. Johnston gets way loose. Slides it up the racetrack. Next closest battle is going to be Lee Huber and J.W. Miller. Haven't done one of these yet since the start of the race. What do you think here, race fans? Give you all at home a chance to crank it up. Taking a look here, Lee Huber, J.W. Miller, still the tightest battle on the racetrack. We're going to follow along here with Miller. Slide up, pick up Huber down the front straightaway. Lap number 95, 96 now, up on the scoreboard. Getting close to the pit windows again for the what should be the final stops of the race. You have to get to right about lap 111 if you want to make it on fuel without a splash and dash. If you stop at lap 114, that's going to get you there plenty to the good. So you're talking about 111, 112. Where that becomes interesting is taking a look at where some of these drivers made their pit stops. Race leader Nick DeGroot stopped at lap number 76. He should be able to make it to about lap 110, maybe 111. Matt Wagner, Charles Teed, they stopped at 73 and 74 respectively. They're going to really have to stretch the fuel number here, and that may be why we see Nick DeGroot extending this lead out. As DeGroot just recently put James Watson a lap down, leaving 5 cars on the lead lap of this race in what has been a caution-free affair as we knock on wood here at the World Broadcast headquarters of the National Racing Network. The race coming up next at 10:15, we can guarantee you will see caution flags aplenty. Indy Pro 2000s at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the oval. These cars will be draft locked and packed up. Quite frankly, that race has the potential to be an absolute mess coming up here at 10:15. You won't want to miss it, though. It is going to be an exciting one for sure. Rest of the schedule for this week on the National Racing Network actually going to be fairly calm the rest of the week. Coming up on Saturday on the NRN social channels, as well as the DeWeather Center Facebook page, it will be the Nice Tits Kickball Tournament coming up from the Emerald Playground in Slatington, well, Emerald, PA, but Slatington, PA, whatever you want to call it, up in the Poconos. That is going to be a day of fun, frivolity, and probably a lot of content you don't want your kids to see. We're just going to call that one a hunch right there. Trouble on the racetrack for Cullen Johnston. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. See what happened to Cullen. Off at turn number 4. Man, same deal. Car just steps out, and he takes the whole left-hand side of that car off. Has to take the tow back into the pit area. Let's go on board here with your race leader. See if we can hear any fuel saving possibly going on here. Sitting in 6th gear up on the chip. Now, we would not be able to see, now granted, we have the camera faded anyway, but you would not be able to see what fuel map Nick was running. That is one of those pieces of information that we don't get to see, and for very good reason. Once we get through what should be a fairly quiet broadcast weekend, with the exception of the kickball tournament coming up here, it will be Monday night, the Silver Crown Series returning to the National Racing Network airwaves. That one coming up at 9:45 in the Eastern Time Zone. Tuesday night, the TNT Rock Block will be back on the air. That is 3 hours of live iRacing content. And coming up on Wednesday, you won't want to miss it. The High Side Hustle with Burt Wojcik and Adam Rubrate. Fairly certain they're going to be talking to the winner of the Williams Grove National Open. The PA Posse taking on the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars. So now working lap number 109, we are expecting to see race leader Nick DeGroot about lap 111. That should put him to the good. Possibly lap 110. You'll have to make it a 40-lap stint from there. Entirely plausible that we could see the fuel saving. The big question is going to be, does Matt Wagner or Charles Teed have to come any earlier than the race leader? Show you the intervals to everybody on track here. There is nobody close to one another in terms of position on the racetrack. I don't want to call this race processional, but that's a little bit of what we got going on here. Now past lap 111, so everybody that comes in at this point will be good to go the rest of the way. I would imagine run this until the fuel meter says time to come in. Because all you're going to do is make that final pit stop just a little bit shorter. Here comes runner-up Matt Wagner. Also, Charles Teed going to be coming down the pit lane. Wagner and Teed will both hit their marks cleanly. Cars are up on the jacks for fresh Firestones. Full tank of Speedway Racing fuel. Wagner down and away, 8.33 seconds. 8:67, the time for Charles Teed. We'll see when your race leader elects to come in. Is a little bit in the Paul Tracy danger zone. And there is Nick DeGroot making his way down. Has to cover the stop by Wagner and Teed. We'll cover this final stop here for Nick DeGroot as we work lap number 115. Couple of cars just ahead of him on the racetrack. 8.65 seconds for DeGroot. He is down and away cleanly. So long as he gets back onto the racetrack without issue, this race will absolutely be his to lose. James Watson, J.W. Miller also on the pit lane right now. And the gap's still right about 4 seconds here. We'll show you the gaps to the race leader. Almost 5 seconds that race leader Nick DeGroot has over Matt Wagner right now. As soon as Victor Aldrich makes that final pit stop, get you a good look there at the Team Watson Racing Nitro Circus colors on the 98. There is Matt Wagner, who runs in position number 3 in line to pick up a good second place finish here tonight once Aldrich makes his final pit stop. He will take the points lead from Charles Teed. Teed and Wagner tied at the top of the standings entering tonight's racing action. Victor Aldrich now in the pits, making his final pit stop. That'll put Charles Teed up to 3rd, and this man, Lee Huber, on track to pick up the 4th position. The AlphaTauri F1 colors on the side of Huber's number 13. J.W. Miller in the 6. Another one of those Team Watson Racing entries. Miller running in position number 5 here this evening. James Watson about halfway down the back straightaway, running 1 lap in arrears of race leader Nick DeGroot. Actually, J.W. Miller also is down to 4 cars on the lead lap for this one. Watson down 1 spot from where he started the race. National Racing Network ZAS Designs Martin Sports on the side of that number 39. Showed you a little bit of Victor Aldrich. He comes back out of the pits into position number 7. Currently running in 8th, the 42 of Jeff Destino. Not sure who the sponsors on that number 42 machine are, but running in 9th, the number 10 Mediocre Motorsports entry of Alec Coates. Rounding out the top 10 for this evening's race, at least to this point, is Zach Evans. Another one of those Team Watson racing cars. National Racing Network, ZAS Designs, Martin Sports. And Me Fine on the side of that number 18. Pretty interesting story of that sponsorship there on the side of Zach Evans' car. We'll get I don't want to give you the whole thing and give you any bad information on it. We'll give that to you for next week's race, though. Sliding back to the front of the field, the gap 4.7 seconds and growing for Nick DeGroot. Take a look here. Victor Aldrich starting to catch in on James Watson. The gap's down to about 3/4 of a second and is shrinking pretty quickly here. Wonder if Watson may not have had an issue at some point out here on the racetrack. Car looks pretty good, but definitely losing ground here in a hurry to Victor Aldrich. Matt Wagner, after that set of pit stops, set the fastest lap of the race, 27.441 seconds. Aldrich just not able to get close enough to James Watson to make a passing attempt here. May have burned up the tires a little bit in trying to gain the ground as well. Down to 20 laps to go for this man, Nick DeGroot. DeGroot making his way through a little bit of traffic here. Now 18 laps to go. Slide back, pick up the fight between Aldrich and Watson. In what has been a very quiet race. 1 hour, 3 minutes down in this one. And only, I don't know, I guess about another 10 or so minutes left. A little less than 10 minutes left. For a race that has gone clean and green since the drop of the green flag. And you can see that as evidenced by where these drivers are running. Matt Wagner, 4.7 seconds back of the race leader. Another 9 seconds back to Charles Teed. Another 13 back to Lee Huber. Huber may actually be in danger of going a lap down. This battle has settled in once again. Let's see if, I believe the next car that your race leader is going to see will be 4th place running Lee Huber. Well, a couple of cars in between anyway. Absolutely dominating performance. Side-by-side battle between James Watson and Victor Aldrich down the front straightaway. Watson slides a little bit high on the entry to 1, forces Aldrich way up into the outside lane. Really screwed up the whole corner there for Victor Aldrich. James Watson, a little bit of a bizzle, able to hold on to position number 6. And once again, race fans, coming up at 10:15 tonight, the Indy Pro 2000 official series from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval. That is about as pack race as you're going to get, or at least single file on the bottom for the vast majority of it. There is one way to get around that racetrack quickly, and it is on the bottom. However, the aggressiveness is where things may start to get a little bit out of hand here. Seeing Gary Godso coming around Zach Evans for the 9th position. This is 3 laps behind race leader Nick DeGroot. A caution flag about now would change absolutely everything and set us up for a very short shootout to the finish. Not sure if the Grid Rival ESRA INDYCAR series utilizing the green-white checkered restart procedure or finish procedure. I believe they do. However, everybody would be good to go on fuel as they're only anywhere from 26 to 28 laps or so into the fuel run. Ten to go, last time by the start-finish line for race leader Nick DeGroot. Sees the gap expand to over 5.5 seconds ahead of Matt Wagner. Not much more you can call this performance tonight by Nick DeGroot other than absolutely dominating. Perfect execution on and off of pit road. Has not put a wheel wrong this evening. Five laps to go. Make it now almost 4 to go. For race leader Nick DeGroot. James Watson has been able to hold that position, number 6, over Victor Aldrich. And actually the gap has grown out to about 3/4 of a second. Down to 2 to go. A couple of popsicle sticks out at the start-finish line for race leader Nick DeGroot. He can see 4th place Lee Huber out the front of his arrow screen. Don't think he's going to get close enough to put up to 4th place a lap down, but at this point, it really doesn't matter. White flag is out at the start-finish line. 1 more lap to go. For the number 89 of Nick DeGroot, he is clean through turns 1 and 2. Down the backstretch through that tricky 3 and 4 for the final time. And a dominating performance from front to back. Nick DeGroot wins at Motegi. Matt Wagner going to come home in the 2nd position. There's 3rd place finisher Charles Teed making his way down the front straightaway. And Teed will complete your podium. Fantastic. Look at that motorsport.com Chevrolets. Your race winner going to burn them down here at Twin Ring Motegi. Let's get you your race results. Well, there you go. He's going to stop it backwards in the middle of the podium photo shoot there. Trying to show you race results here. Well, we'll give them to you anyway, since the graphics package is not being very cooperative at the moment. Nick DeGroot, your race winner over Matt Wagner, Charles Teed, Lee Huber, and J.W. Miller, the top 5. Miller, your hard charger of the race, gaining 12 positions. James Watson, Victor Aldrich, Alec Coates, Gary Godso, and Zach Evans, your top 10. Jeff Destino, TJ McMurray, Cullen Johnston, Connor Baldwin, Gary Corley back through 15th. Jason Hand, Alexander Ball, Dylan Thomas, and Alex Ress will round out the field here this evening. Bring everybody up here for the Victory Lane interviews. And we will kick things off with your race winner tonight, Nick DeGroot. Nick, congratulations. An absolutely dominating performance from front to back. That was really impressive out of that motorsport.com number 89 tonight.
Yeah, it really was a blast. I love this track, and as an interloper this season, just running part-time, I was looking at the schedule and saying which ones do I know I want to do, that I can do, and this track was right near at the top of the list because I love this place. It's fun to drive. It's got 2 very unique corners. 2 very different approaches you got to take to them, and yeah, it was really just fun. It got a little just kind of putting laps in towards the end there, but that first 50 laps or so was really exciting, battling Connor there and trying to figure out a way around him. And it's a shame what happened with him, but yeah, up to that point it was really fun battling.
Yeah, that was it. Once those 4 lead cars became 3 and you guys got separated, was it just about managing fuel at that point and making sure the numbers were going to line up where you wanted them to?
Yeah, exactly. It was going to be a little bit close, it looked like at first, and I thought I was going to have to save. So I kind of just hung up behind a couple lap cars and didn't pressure them as much as I normally would, and it turned out not to really be an issue. I still had like 3 laps, a few left at the end of that thing, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's enough, so yeah.
Well, absolutely impressive drive here tonight. Congratulations on your first win in the Grid Rival ESRA IndyCar Series. Let's make sure we get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in here before we let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to thank Factory Back Motorsports, Covymore.com, Motorsport.com, Blaze Pods, HyperX, Cowboy Shit, and of course Dark Horse Racing and Area 51 and all the other awesome leagues out there like this that allow us to come together and race with a bunch of people that are just good, clean racers. It's always a blast to have a green race like that. It's fun to drive.
Yes, sir, it is. I was a little worried that we were going to see a little bit of a caution fest, but not a bad way to do it. An hour and 15 minutes or so to go clean and green from start to finish. Congratulations again, Nick. When do we see you next then, if you're going to be interloping?
I'm going to be skipping the Red Bull Ring. I'd have to look at the schedule again, but I know I'm doing Pocono Indy. Those are 2 I know I'm doing, so I don't know when they line up in the schedule, but look for me at the big ovals. I'll probably be at those.
Yep, Pocono coming up. It's an off week next week. Pocono, October 21st. Looking forward to that one. So, all right, Nick, thank you very much. We appreciate it there, bud. And let's get our runner-up finisher here tonight, Matt Wagner, into the show. And, well, Matt, outside of a little bit of contact with Connor Baldwin, kind of a ho-hum race, very quiet out there for you.
Yeah, I really do feel really bad about that. I made a wrong correction because I thought I was going toward the apron and made contact with Connor, and I had to apologize straight on the radio, and that's the only thing I really regret. But outside, yeah, it was pretty quiet. I did have a couple of moments coming out of pit road. There was a red car right on the apron there on the runoff to get the speed, and I lost about 2 seconds there. Maybe, just maybe, I would have caught DeGroot's draft.
Yeah, that was basically it. Once the draft was lost, it kind of seemed like that was going to be the end of it. Was there any thought to working with Cullen, or Charles, I should say, and kind of trying to work together and draft your way back towards the front? I don't know how much the draft would have played into an effect anyway here, but...
Yeah, the draft is really evil, and as soon as you get about, about 8/10 of a second, it gets really bad, and 2 cars in front of you makes it even worse. And it was fun. I learned a lot. DeGroot is the GOAT, and I've raced him in every about 2 or 3 leagues, and he's just a phenomenal race car driver.
Well, I tell you what, Matt, it was a good points night for you as well. You and Charles will not be separated by much, but you will leave here with the points lead tonight. What does that do for momentum-wise with the off week and then Red Bull Ring coming up?
I probably expect an EOL for the contact there, but I've never driven the Red Bull Ring, so it's probably a good thing, because I don't want to wreck half the field. That's like a bad thing.
Yeah, you got the off week. You can do some practice, that's for sure.
Yes, a lot of practice. I will be doing that a lot.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you very much here. Before we let you go, make sure we get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in here as well.
Well, I'd like to thank Alec and Colin for putting on a good show and a great setup. It was very, very challenging. Like I said, I thought I learned a lot. To especially my friends at Air 51. Hi, guys. Good to see you. And my buddies at TWR. Can't do without them.
All right, Matt, thank you very much here. Let's bring up our third place finisher here tonight, Mr. Charles Teed. And tell you what here, Charles, it's kind of been the same question to lead off with everybody, but not a bad way to spend 150 laps at Motegi is doing it all clean and green.
No, it was nice. It was a really fun setup. I think it would have been a lot more fun if there would have been a yellow in there somewhere to bunch us back up. Even with like 20 to go, I think there was like 3 of us, 4 of us on the lead lap to put a nice little battle together. Nick is an absolute machine, and Wagner isn't far behind him. And then you have a schlep like me trying to race with him. So it's I'm thrilled with the P3 here.
Yeah, that was impressive. And now you're going to get some practice time heading into the Red Bull Ring. You're not going to be that far off of Matt in the point standings here after tonight, with both of you guys coming in tied and having good finishes. Are we going to have a season-long battle between you two now?
The only way is if I can steal some wins on ovals, because I suck on the road, as you guys saw last week, and Matt is very good. I think, with Nick running some of these races with us, that's another wrench in the works, because Nick is as good as anyone at this. So it's going to be tough because I got to get a couple of wins to offset what Matt's going to do on the road. But yeah, we'll race with him when we can. I've got a trip coming up overseas, so I will miss a race, but hopefully we'll still be able to hang in there with him. It was a lot of fun tonight, though. Thank you.
Yeah, Nick was saying he's looking forward to Pocono and Indianapolis. So that's kind of your ace in the hole card there in terms of putting up a fight for the championship. It'll be fun to watch, though, because you guys put on a great show out here. So congratulations on the third place finish here tonight. Let's get the plugs and thank yous in before we let you go.
Oh, just thanks to you guys, Chris, for putting on a great broadcast every week with NRN. Thanks to Alec and Colin for putting this lead together. Dark Horse, HyperX, the usual cast of characters. It's a lot of fun. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And there you go. We're going to wrap things up here from Twin Ring Motegi because, we got about 45 minutes until we're back on the air at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval for the Indy Pro 2000 Official Series Championship. But first, Let's take care of business here for the Grid Rival ESRA IndyCar Series from Twin Ring Motegi. As always, the broadcasts here on the National Racing Network of the Grid Rival ESRA IndyCar Series are brought to you by Grid Rival. Make sure you check them out on your mobile device, your tablet, your phone, whatever you want to use. The Grid Rival app is a fantasy racing game for the MotoGP and Formula One World Championships. Pick your drivers, stay under the allocated salary cap. You know how the drill works in fantasy. Make sure once you get onto the platform, you check out and do a search for ESRA, E-S-R-A. You can compete against the drivers, fans, team owners, everybody else here affiliated with the Grid Rival ESRA IndyCar Series. With that, we are getting out of here. We will talk to you at 10:15 in the East. For production design by Connor Baldwin and everybody else here at the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. It has been a pleasure to have you hanging out with us. We will talk to you soon. Have a great night, everybody.